Okay. I'm milling about with Philip Falardeau, and he is the writer-director of my Salinger Year. Welcome. Did I say your name okay?
You did. You get an extra point for that.
I know Sigourney Weaver spoke brilliant French with you. My thing in high school was Spanish, so.
Yes, she was. When we met for the first time, actually, I didn't expect that. I was waiting for her in the cafe, and she got in, and I got up, and I was starstruck, and then she started talking to me in French, and it kind of threw me off. I didn't expect that. Her French is very good, actually.
Yeah, so I've heard. And Margaret Qualley, did she try to speak to you in French as well?
She didn't, but she understood. This girl is so brilliant that she could pick it up as we went along, and being immersed in Montreal at the end, I could see that she understood everything we said.
I don't know about you, but I am madly in love with her. Madly.
Well, I wanted her in the film, and I went to New York to almost plead with her to be in the film. And I gave her the book. I said she had read the first draft, and I gave her the book, and I said, I'm still working on this script, and I'd like you to read the book and tell me, maybe as a young woman, there are some things in the book that will appeal to you more than they did to me, and I can adjust it also. I can adjust the script. And she did. She read the book. She loved it. We Skyped for a long time, and I picked up on some of her reactions to the book. And it was the first time that I was writing for someone in particular. Normally, I finish my script, it's finance, and then you start the process of casting. And it was not totally like this. And I would love to do that again in the future, because I think it's the only way to do it, honestly, to really get a real conversation going with the person who's going to carry the film on her shoulder.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but Sigourney Weaver, she's the queen of cinema. So were you at all intimidated by her?
I was intimidated in the cafe when we met, and after that I wasn't anymore, because honestly, well, first of all, I had some prior experience with Hollywood stars, with Naomi Watts, with Reese Witherspoon, Liev Schreiber, and you get on the set, and everybody loves cinema. Everybody knows that we're working. And what I like to do on a set is work with the actors, and the actors know that, they feel it, they understand it, and they are my priority. So once we're on the set, it was not intimidating, but it was kind of surreal sometimes, because if I started thinking about all her other films, I would have maybe to pinch myself. But I would work with her again for sure. And she's so funny. I mean, she plays a character that's very serious, but in real life, she's super funny. And I would love to direct a comedy with her, actually.
Oh, cool. How did she feel about smoking all those? I imagine they were fake cigarettes.
Well, we had a discussion about that. At first she didn't want to smoke because she had to on Avatar, and that was tough and a disaster. And then she said, I'm not a good smoker. You can see just lighting the cigarette. And so I gave her some homework. I sent her a beautiful lighter so she could practice. But at the end, she understood that that type of character, smoking gave her some sort of panache, which she already has, by the way. Sigourney has natural panache. No, it was a bit painful for her at the beginning, but she got she at the end, she mastered it pretty well.
I wonder where the lighter is now.
I think we gave it to her.
As you should. So I don't know about you, Philippe, but I could not get through Catcher in the Rye for a minute. So did these people that were involved with the film, did you encourage them to read Catcher in the Rye or anything of J.D. Salinger?
They did, naturally, most of them. And I remember a young woman working with the set, with the production designer, and she was responsible to dress the set. She came up with all these little quirky objects that related to either to Salinger's work. But it was not mandatory for sure. You have to understand that Joanna herself hadn't read Salinger. And she did only towards the end of that particular year, and I hadn't either. But I did before writing the last draft. I finally did, and I enjoyed it. And I thought, as a 15-year-old, I would never have gotten it, and as an adult, I did. So I'm glad actually that I read it in my late 40s.
Well, two things that you might have brought back: the typewriter and right, and reading classic movies. So how difficult was it to get a hold of a typewriter?
We had to bring that one from the States, I think. And I wanted that particular green and one that did that particular humming sound. So there's a lot of them lying around, but when you want a specific one, it can be very expensive. But I used to do my university essays on typewriters like this. So I could relate to that sound, to that humming sound. And so that's why I had, like, on the spur of the moment, I asked at one point Margaret Qualley to just like close her eyes and listen to the typewriter humming, like if it was a cat purring. And what I did in sound design, I put the sound of a cat purring on the typewriter. So yeah, I love objects. I'm a bit of a freak when I'm on a set for the prop master, because I keep moving objects around and I love them. I love to shoot them, and especially when you do a period film.
So were you hiding little things in drawers and things like that for them to discover?
No, I didn't have time for that, unfortunately. I wish I had more times to explore the beautiful set design that our collaborators did, and it was an important one in the film, because this old agency is kind of stuck in time. And because my film is a period film is set in the 90s, the 90s is not so long ago. So it's kind of in the no man's land, because things are different, but not so different. The cars are different, but not that different. But then you get the agency that's kind of stuck in a timeless period. It could be the 40s, it could be the 60s, it could be the 90s, it could be all these periods. So I'm glad we had that location that we built from scratch. And I remember Joanna Rakoff stepping on the set. She came to Montreal for a few days. We shot the film entirely in Montreal. And when she got in, she started to cry. She was very emotional about it. And I turned to the production designer and said, "Wow, you got it right."
Yeah, I love this. I love this film. It's so charming. It really, truly is. And it makes me nostalgic for New York, even though it wasn't shot in New York. So
no, I wish I had shot it in New York, but at the same time, I think I had more money and more liberty to do it in Montreal, because it's so complicated and expensive to do it in New York. But Montreal is not New York. So that forced me to really angle out some of the stuff and concentrate on what's important. It's really a character-driven story. So every time I found a place that looked like New York, the real question was, how can I use it to get inside Joanna's head?
Mm. And also another big plot is the fact that she writes letters and she's answering fan mail. What about you? What about other actors on the set? Did they discuss or reveal to you people that they've written fan letters to?
Well, that was central to me for sure. And I didn't get it quite at first when I started adapting the book, but at one point I realized has to be central in the movie, because I can understand why she refused to send that generic form letter to the fans saying, basically, "We're sorry, but Mr. Salinger is not interested in reading his mail." This is very cruel. As a fan who has written to people, to film directors and to authors, I would prefer not getting a response to getting a response like that. So I could relate to that, especially that when I was in my 20s, early 20s, I was studying in international relations. I wanted to work in foreign affairs. And I saw a short film by a young woman director, and I wrote to her, and she was on the other side of the planet, and she answered me back, and that made a big difference in my life. And in hindsight, when I think about it, maybe I wouldn't be making films today if she hadn't answered.
Very cool. Well, I wrote to David Cassidy professing my love, but he never wrote me back.
Well,
And I
have to
told
keep
him that.
trying. Well, today, the thing is that today you write to people that are well known, and you're 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up getting an answer from a publicist, probably, but
Yeah.
but signed by the person. So it's at that time in the 90s, there were no social media. So if you got an answer, you probably got an answer from the real deal.
Cool. So tell me, what is your next project? I'm so excited.
Oh, well, this time I'm doing a television series in Quebec. So it's in French, but it takes place on a farm with migrant workers. Our agriculture is 100% dependent on migrant workers. So it's a dramedy, and I'm really looking forward to that. I am not writing anything yet because I was so exhausted coming out of my Salinger Year. I wrote about 17 drafts. So it's going to be a while since I write something else. But yeah, working on television series and a documentary series also on the biggest train tragedy in Canada in Lac Mégantic 8 years ago. So doing both at the same time.
Well, we'll look forward to that. Thank you, Philippe, so much for joining me. My Salinger Year opens March 5th. Yes.
Thank you so much. And thank you for reaching out.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
You have it in you to become a really fine agent, but you have other aspirations.
I didn't want to be ordinary. I want to be extraordinary.
Make a noise.
Always news. Always refreshing. Always candid. Always milling about. Robin Milling delivers what celebrities are saying to you.